It's me, Bicycle 79. Games, a bunch of PS1 games. I can just walk in and out of thrift store. Hello gamers, it's me, Bicycle 79. It's my show. Glad to be back, man. This is where it starts to get serious. We're starting to get down to the top five. And the top five is just like, these really are consoles that have only moved up, or I've changed my mind about, or I've looked at them in a different way. And so only a few of them may have shifted. And some of them I've looked at them differently because I didn't have them. But my number five is my NES. My NES definitely has a special place in my historic lifetime, in my gaming history, my nostalgic memory. You know, as you can see, I got Super Mario Bros. 3 classic, straight classic. I'm getting close to having about 100 games for the NES as well. I think I'm pulling close to about 70, and I know I'll eventually move into 100 because there's probably hundreds and hundreds of games that I've played for the NES. But there's nothing like the feeling of being a kid and being able to just embark on a journey with a system and a game and becoming sort of one with that character and understanding that character. And, you know, of course we do the worship thing. We worship the idol of that game, and, you know, we come to appreciate all the things that it has to offer. So the NES did those things for me. It was one of the first systems that I got to see games actually transition from the arcade experience to the home environment. And almost some of the games, they came close to matching up. So it was one of those things that freed up money out of my pocket. I didn't have to go about with spending so many quarters because now I have Super Mario Bros. At home, and, you know, and all the other titles, the Castlevania series, and let's see what else we have up there. Castlevania, Adventure Island, Skate or Die, 720 Degrees, California games. There's just so many. TC Surfing, all the Bart Simpsons and stuff like that. Not all of them are good, so don't get me wrong on that. And don't quote me on that. Double Dragons. I mean, there are Ninja Gaiden. There's so many awesome titles. Corey and I talk about this all the time. How were they able to pack in so much into this little bitty chip? I mean, because if you go and look at the amount of space these actual games take up, it's not even nowhere in the vicinity of what games now for like PS3 or PS4, Xbox One, 360 even hold. And they were able to pack in music. They were able to pack in storylines, side scrollers, subtitles, all kinds of elements that we kind of take for granted now. We you know, we've gotten spoiled, so we expect those things to be. So, yeah, Nintendo definitely has a special place in my heart. It was my second console that I received, and I was definitely very, very appreciative of it. And now my number four was kind of a tough one because I've been on a journey with this system through the entirety of its console journey. Or and number four is my PS3. I actually have the Slim. I did originally have the fat one, and the fat one, I've actually had 4 PS3s. The first one that I had, it was a Japanese one, and this was before I started collecting. Then I got the first one. The first one I got was back in '08. I paid about $500 for it, or more, I think, after taxes and everything. And I actually got it from a pawn shop. Just letting you know how I am as a thrifter, and I like to get my stuff on the cheap because it was cheaper than what was in the stores. It had about 40 gigs, but I took it right back. Then the next one I had that one for a while, I switched the hard drive out and burnt it out. Sat on the floor like this, and we have ceramic tile in the house, no carpet, and had a short circuit like a couple years down the road. The third one I got, I had it for a while, and then I sold it off because there was a period of time where I actually stopped gaming for a while. I just got more busy with all other aspects of my life. This was before the channel and all the other things, before just joining all these other communities, appreciating gaming and who I am as a gamer in itself and what all that meant. And then number 4 that I have now, and I've had since, I believe it was 2011, 2012. I pre-ordered it with the bundle for Uncharted 3. So that lets you know how long I've had this one. So it was 2011, yeah, because I look at some of my games, the ones that I downloaded when I first got my PS3 back and went online and had my own library built up. But the PS3 showed me the capabilities of where technology could go. It opened up the boundaries, the mindset, the obstacles. It basically removed the endless possibilities and gave us possibilities of where we could go. And so I've always kind of had a special partiality towards Sony, but as I started the game, I started to have a partiality towards other games and stuff, like other systems, consoles and stuff like that. So yeah, this one definitely stands out for me, and I love it. I really do. And there's just so many titles. Of course, the God of War series, Uncharted series, Ratchet and Clank, and then opening up the doors of indie games that now you can download, DLC, all kinds of stuff, being able to online gameplay with old school games like Mortal Kombat 2 actually got more time out of me online wise rather than all the other shooters and stuff like that, because I'm not really into that. So yeah, and then I crossed over into playing a lot more of the RPG games and just been having a great experience with it. And so this is definitely my number 4. Now my number 3 was actually really hard to figure out and pick because it was tough between number 2 and number 3. Number 1 is still my love, but number 1 and number 2 was hard, and number 3 was hard. So the 3 was really, 1 through 3 was really hard for me as far as what order to place them in, because it's like you got 1A, 1B, 1C. And this system, which is my TurboGrafx 16, I chased this down for 2 years. The TurboGrafx 16, I actually traded in my Super Nintendo at the time because I come to find out about the TurboGrafx 16 a little later on. How I found out about it was my good buddy named T. And him and I used to game it out on the NES, on the SNES, and I came over his house one day and I happened to see his system, because back then, you know, as we've always discussed, there wasn't a lot of advertisement back then, so you didn't know about systems back then. I mean, you had commercials drop out here and there. I mean, of course, we had Sega Genesis and SNES kind of go all in about their system and how this one is better in comparison, sound, color, graphics, bits, and all that other little stuff. But here came along the TurboGrafx 16. And what fascinated me so much was the hue card, turbo chip, whatever you want to call it. And I just thought it was so innovative. This idea right here just blew me away, that a little chip could hold all this information and you didn't have to worry about blowing it. You had to do all this stuff to get it going. All you had to do was put it in the slot. That's it. And then turn it on. And bam, there go your game. That was it. And there was so many countless amounts of titles. Legendary Axe is hands down my favorite on the TurboGrafx 16. Bonk's Adventure, Zonk, Keep Courage. The little bitty things that you can appreciate about it, even though it's a sorry title. Vigilante, the one I got now, Ninja Spirit, R-Type, let's see, Adventure Island. I mean, I really loved it on the TurboGrafx 16. There was a lot of titles. Those are just some of the titles that's off the top of my head, but you know, as time goes by, I'm going to make sure I collect all my loves that I had for this. But this system showed me even back then where technology was going and what we could do. I didn't think that we were going to get to that point. I thought what I saw for that time was it. I didn't know we were going to go further. I didn't know we were going to leap higher or reach higher. And so, yeah, this is definitely my number 3. Not an easy one. But this is my number 2 is my PS2. If you haven't learned, this is like really my number 2 is really like my 1B. Because I've probably bought more games for this system. I'm trying to think even back then. If I add up back then and now in comparison to my PS3, I think it's either they're almost close. Because I know with my PS3, I know I've probably bought more than 200 games for that system. Now, do I have them all? No, I have like 1/4 of that now. Maybe. I think I got like 50 games, 40, 50 games or something like that. Because I've sold off titles that I know I can get back for the PS3. Or titles that I just, for that time, it was good to play, conquer, and be done with. So, no love lost. But my PS2 has so much partiality for me. It was the first time I ever got to play a real platformer that was just awesome and beyond. Jak and Daxter series, Ratchet and Clank, the Eco, Shadow Colossus, the landscape, being able to see Colossus on a screen that big, of that magnitude, just blew me away. And I remember getting that. Bully, GTA. I think that was the one that pulled me in. When I saw GTA 3 at my best friend's house, Owen, that I occasionally tell you guys about, I knew I had to have a PS2. That was the console seller, and that opened my eyes to GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. Man, there's been so many other titles: Astro Boy, Getaway. Let's see, of course, the God of War series, Devil May Cry series, Sly Cooper. Let's see, Metal Slug Anthology, Tomb Raider, Scarface. And see, that's the thing. There's thousands upon thousands of games, and I'm really close to having 200 games for the PS2. I think I'm like at 180 something at this point, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to reach about 1,000 easily. So, because I've had to, if you see this shelf and I move these stack of games, there's games stacked behind that. I've actually taken a lot of a lot of my PS2 games that don't have labels on them, and I put those behind, because most of those I don't even play. But these, I know I'll go back and I just grab them right off the shelf like a library book and just start playing them. But my PS2, and I even got a Slim just as a backup, just in case this old buddy goes out on me. But yeah, I remember getting one for Christmas. My wife surprised me with one, and I think it was in 2000, 2001. I can't remember. And man, this system takes me back. And a lot of people don't know this about me, is that I am an introvert, and most gamers are, but I also have levels of anxiety, so I deal with it through calming myself down, and calming me down is through games. It balances me out, like especially when I've had a stressful day and it's just been chaos all around me, mental frustrations. Being able to pop the game in for at least 30 minutes to an hour just to unwind, then I'm able to come down and then deal with life at home, and the wife and the son and my dog and my mother-in-law and everybody else. You know, not in no particular order or anything, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, this is definitely my number 2. And I know this system ranks high as like one of the greatest selling systems of all time. I know it sold more than 150 million units. And even well into the PS3 era, this system was still selling. They just stopped selling games, as far as stopped making games for the PS2 just a few years ago. That's just how much of a cultural phenomenon it's been, and how much of the impact it's been to us as a society. Our whole different way of looking at things, and seeing games online, and seeing people. Because I was talking to, I was talking to Gary or Gareberry the other day about that, SOCOM. He was talking about that was like one of his first games that he just went head to head online and had the whole online experience, and that stuff he'll never forget. It's forever with us. And just like Mega said, he said something really impactful that it'll stick with me forever, is that each game that you have in your collection is a stored away memory, your own personal memories. So it's like walking through my brain whenever you come through my house and I tell you about the systems that I got. I'm excited to tell you about that. And if you ask me about a game, I'll be able to tell you, oh, I may have got this game as a suggestion from this person or whatever. Or if it was a game I had years ago, and I'm so glad to have it back in my collection. So yeah, this is my number one. Shouldn't come as a surprise to nobody. I've ranted about it, I've talked about it, I've shared my love for it, and it's the Super Nintendo. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's my favorite system of all time. Like I always say, there's so many memories, there's so much love, there's so much precious time that went into having this system in my life. It was at a key moment when I needed it the most, and it sounds weird to some people, but I know as gamers out there, it makes complete sense. And for me, Christmas of '92 will never, ever be a letdown in my mind, my heart, and my thoughts and my ways, because when this game came out, nothing else mattered. At that time, or when this system came out, nothing else mattered. It helped me, it sheltered me, it guided me. And because see, the thing is, I've done a lot of research about gaming and how it makes you strategically think throughout your life and set patterns. And so even though there was so much chaos going on around me, it gave me time to go into a nonverbal situation within my own head and start thinking about the future. So anytime I'm gaming, I'm really thinking. I'm thinking about ideas for how to make the show better, or ideas that I can come up with on my job or in my life or just my family or anything in general. And this helped me do that. And that's why I was able to figure out, okay, I died here. Now I need to figure out how can I pass it without dying again. So you revamp, go back, start it over, do it again, and until completion. And I know I got this on Christmas Day, and I probably, before Christmas Eve, but New Year's Eve, I had already beat the game. So it only took me that amount of time. But then I went back and played it again, and then again, and then again, and until completion. But there's so many titles: Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, All Stars. Well, that's pretty much some of the bigger titles, and then also the Zeldas. I mean, Off-Road, Castlevania. I mean, there's games that I've been able to go back and add into my collection that I didn't know about, and that's when I found out about Street Fighter 2 being, that's when transitioning that home was just like mind-blowing, because I spent so much money on that game. And then having Mortal Kombat 2, which is my favorite Mortal Kombat of all time. There's something about some of those sequels, they just stick with me. But Christmas of '92 will always be a special place for me, a special time for me. And it helped me out. Definitely helped me out. And so I'm so glad to have this. I'm so glad to have been able to share these things with you, share my top 10 consoles. Tell me what your top 10 are. Leave comments, like, subscribe, share my video, share my channel to other people so they can subscribe, so they can see the passion and love that I have, not only for retro, but just for gaming in general. Any and all aspects has something to contribute. So take it for what it's worth. But other than that, oh yeah, and also leave a video response. I mean, if you can just take a few minutes, maybe do your top 5 or whatever. Other than that, I'm LifeSpiller79, and I'm out.